Hi guys, guess what? Mahathir is literally throwing everything and the kitchen sink in order to get Anwar removed from office. He's so hell-bent on removing Anwar, so hell-bent. He's literally even going against himself in his effort to get Anwar removed from office. In his latest post on social media, Mahathir is claiming that Anwar doesn't deserve to be the Prime Minister because the pardon that Mahathir himself had gotten for Anwar in 2018 is invalid. Mahathir is basically going against himself in order to bring Anwar down. Now, this is what Mahathir is saying. He wrote it in BM, but I translated it into English. It goes like this. Now, this is a quote, direct quote. Now, a question arises about whether he is even eligible, he here meaning Anwar, is even eligible to contest in the general election. This is due to confusion surrounding Anwar's pardon. There is a possibility that the pardon was invalid. Anwar was granted a pardon during my second tenure as Prime Minister. I acted as advised. I believe that it was right at the time. But now issues have surfaced regarding the legitimacy of Anwar's pardon. The people have the right to resolve this confusion. This is what Mahathir is saying, to cast aspersion on Anwar's pardon, as if he had no idea that the pardon that was granted to Anwar just after 1 week after the 14th general election in Malaysia ended in 2018, which, as we all know, saw BN defeated for the first time in the country's history. It was a historic moment, and Mahathir again returned as the Prime Minister. I think at the grand old age of 92. I think he was the oldest Prime Minister in the world at the time. And Mahathir didn't know there was anything wrong with the pardon that he had gotten Anwar at that time until right now. That's what Mahathir claims. Now, I actually also believe that there was something odd with Anwar getting a pardon at such a rapid pace after Pakatan won in 2018. Now, if you remember, the Mahathir-led Pakatan Party won the general election on 9th of May 2018. Guess when Anwar got the pardon? 16 May 2018. Just 1 week after, although no one was even talking about Anwar being pardoned before Pakatan won. That's odd, isn't it? That's at least strange, isn't it? But I, unlike Mahathir, have been consistent in believing that there was something odd with Anwar's pardon from the very beginning. I not only think that there is something very odd about Anwar getting a pardon, I also think that there is something very odd about Najib getting a half pardon last year as well. I don't think that people like Anwar, people like Najib are deserving to get pardons, because I don't think that giving people like Anwar and Najib pardons is the reason why the concept of pardon is introduced into our system. I think one of the minimum criteria to offer somebody a pardon, not only from a legal term, just from a common sense term, is that they first must accept that they have done something wrong and show they are remorseful for what they did. Now, if you committed murder when you were 16 and you got a life sentence after you have served 20 years in jail, you admit that you did the murder, you are remorseful for it, you have spent 20 years in jail, and you did it when you were 16. So probably you getting a pardon is something that I would find legitimate. After all, you did it when you were young, something like that. But here's the thing. You first have to admit that you do it, and you have to show some remorse over it. But neither Anwar nor Najib have admitted guilt or wrongdoing. So I don't think the concept of pardon is applicable to them. Actually, what they should do is go to court and try to prove that they are innocent in order to get themselves exonerated or released. They shouldn't try to get released through pardon. Pardon is not for people who don't think they have done anything wrong. The people who don't think they have done anything wrong, who want to be exonerated, should take it to court. Not expect pardon. However, practically speaking, at this point, when even Najib's half pardon last year has been for all intent and purpose accepted to be legitimate, I doubt that questioning Anwar's pardon, which was granted in 2018 itself, is going to go anywhere. The fact that the one that is questioning the pardon is Mahathir, the very person who was responsible for getting the pardon in the first place, hardly helps the case. Mahathir, by the way, can't keep saying, I don't know, I didn't know at the time, to exonerate himself and justify every wrong decision he has made in his career. Mahathir, to tell you the truth, has been abusing the I don't know excuse once too many times for it to be believable anymore. In 1998, when Mahathir alleged that Anwar was involved in the infamous sexual misconduct, I hate saying that, but you know what? It's history, so yeah. So when Mahathir alleged Anwar for the sexual misconduct thing, he said he never knew that Anwar was that sort of person who did the sort of thing that he was alleged to do, and that Mahathir only saw the truth conveniently at a time when he and Anwar were involved in a power struggle. How convenient, like, yeah? When Mahathir accused Najib for corruption, he also alleged that he never knew that Najib was corrupt, although Najib had worked under him for decades. It was as if he was saying that, you know what, hey, Najib suddenly became corrupt, suddenly, without him having any inkling about it, when Najib was working for him for decades. Only at a time, and that also same like Anwar, only at a time when Najib and him were quarreling as well. Now, that is again saying that Anwar's pardon is invalid, although he is the one who had gotten Anwar the pardon in the first place. Because he didn't know, he claims, that it was invalid at the time. It's, honestly speaking, beggars belief, yeah. Rather than call into question the fact about the validity of Anwar's pardon, Mahathir's allegation, actually, I don't think it's just me. I think it's like that's how everybody is going to take it. It's actually just harming his own reputation and image. Yeah. That is now saying that Anwar's pardon is invalid when he himself was the person who got the pardon for Anwar, and that too only at a time when Mahathir desperately is in dire need to dislodge Anwar from power. As we all know, Mahathir's friend Dahim already he already have his assets seized, not only in Malaysia and also in overseas. And I don't know, most people are saying, I believe so, after Daim, Mahathir is probably the next in line on the Anwar's chopping board. That's what I believe. We can never know, but that's what I believe. And also Mahathir's children have already been called for questioning by MACC. So there is some grounds for me to believe that Mahathir and his legacy, which not only includes his children but also his reputation and his legacy, what he leaves behind, his name and his reputation, is probably in line for as long as in line for the chopping board, for as long as Anwar is the one that is on top. But he's like everything and throwing everything at the kitchen sink method in order to dislodge Anwar from power is making Mahathir look like the sort of person who will say anything. He will say that fire is wet and water is dry if that is what it will take to get what he wants. It is indeed true that the dissatisfaction and frustration against Anwar's rule is currently at a high, but the fact that the dissatisfaction and frustration is being championed only by someone like Mahathir, whose own credibility is in tatters, likely means that no matter how high the dissatisfaction and frustration against Anwar's reign is, I don't think it's going to do significant damage. And you know what they say, right? The message is only as good as the messenger. even if the gospel truth is being delivered by the devil, it carries no worth, yeah? So even if all that Mahathir accuses about Anwar is true, Mahathir not only is accusing, it's not only saying that the pardon that was granted to Anwar might be invalid. He also says other things in his social media posts. He's saying things like Anwar is an inveterate liar. Anwar also practices nepotism and cronyism. That Anwar's promises of reforms are joke. But I think none of it will matter if it's for so long as it is Mahathir that is the one that is levying the accusation. When people believe that a conflict is between good and evil, I think it's our nature, people's nature, for many of us, at least the ones amongst us that is worthwhile, we will be inclined to choose or the side that we believe is good, no matter what's the cost. Even if we have a lot to lose, we will probably choose the side that we believe stands on the side of the good, because there is some value in that, there is some worth in choosing the side that is good, even if we are not going to win. But no one, however, sees the contest between Mahathir and Anwar as a contest between good and evil. That's the problem. That's Mahathir's problem. Nobody sees his issue with Anwar as a contest between good and evil. Most of us, when we see the conflict between Anwar and Mahathir, we actually just see the conflict between two politicians who are more alike than different. That being the case, we will probably just choose the stronger side, because when two sides are in conflict and you really can't tell who's good and who is bad, who is right and who is wrong, I think it's just natural for people to choose the side that we believe is stronger, unless the opposition can find somebody more credible to lead their charge against Anwar. But continue to rely on a person like Mahathir or even Muhyiddin. I'm not saying Muhyiddin. I don't think Muhyiddin is that compromised, but it is like they belong in they're not just strong enough. Let's just put it this way: like Mahathir, Anwar, Muhyiddin, we all think they come from the same group. Basically, like old-time politicians. We believe none of them is good, none of them is bad. Actually, we think they are all alike. I doubt that the opposition's charge against Mahathir will go very far. When someone like Mahathir or even Muhyiddin, for that matter, asks us to trust them and believe them over Anwar, I doubt that anyone will. Even if what they say about Anwar is true, that he is a liar, this is what Mahathir said in his social media post, and someone that cannot be depended on. The problem is we don't really see Mahathir or Muhyiddin as particularly truthful people who can be depended on to lead us to the promised land, or to a better future, or to the truth, or to the light. So considering that, if we had to choose between them and Anwar, most of us will, I am quite confident that most of us will simply choose Anwar, because though he might not be better than them, I think he is clearly holding the higher ground. He's got the advantage. So it's probably that he's the one that is has the greater likelihood of emerging as the victor in the conflict between him and the opposition, which includes people like Mahathir and Anwar. So that's the cold hard truth. When we don't think anybody is good, anybody is bad, we don't think any side is right or any side is wrong. We actually think that all the people involved are basically roughly the same. Muhyiddin, Anwar, Mahathir, they're all basically the same. I think the best option and the natural option is just to choose the one that is the strongest. And in this particular case scenario, I think the one that is strongest is actually Anwar. So I think, in conclusion, I think the opposition main problem is, if they want to harvest the dissatisfaction that the people are feeling towards Anwar, what they're going to have to do is find a better champion, somebody that is not so difficult to believe like Mahathir lah, or even Muhyiddin. Find somebody that we can, we at least can tell ourselves that yeah, this guy maybe is we can believe him. We can believe him because maybe we don't know him. The problem with Mahathir and Mahathir and Muhyiddin is like we know them for too long. They've been in the business for too long that we just don't believe them that much anymore. So anyway, that's my episode for today. Basically, the conclusion is I don't think that the opposition's charge against Anwar is going anywhere because they don't have a champion on their side to carry out their campaign against carry out their campaign against Anwar effectively. So that's it, guys. That's all I have for you today. I shall catch you soon. I hope in the next episode. As always, stay safe and have a great day. Bye bye.